Oh, we got Michael Parkhurst on the show. Thanks for joining us, bro. How you doing?
I'm doing great, guys. It's good to be here.
Good to have you, dude. Dude, we I feel like we go back a long way since our time in Denmark.
hmm
And you've had a pretty storied career in MLS as well. Congratulations as well for announcing your retirement and being able to, as Mike Grella said, come out of prison after 15 years. Um,
It's one way to look at it.
anyways, I know you've heard a couple of these before, and so we'll start off with the quick hitting questions. Not too many of them today. We'll step into the interview, and then Ike will try and crush you at the end with those 5 hard hitting questions that you can only plead the fifth to once.
Fellow Demon Deacon, take it easy on me.
I was going to until you started lifting the cup in front of my face the other day, so I couldn't take it anymore.
All right, so let's start with some quick hitters. This actually isn't, it is an easy question, in my opinion, but maybe harder for you to answer. So rank these MLS organizations in order of best to worst. New England Revolution, Atlanta, Columbus.
Atlanta, Columbus, New England.
All right, as easy as we all would have thought.
You could tell he had to think. He had put a lot of thought into that one.
Hey, Columbus almost wasn't an organization, and they're still apparently better than New England. So that's.
I was just saying, how was that Save the Crew when you were there? Was it did you get a part of it, or you missed it completely, or was it like kind of whisperings?
I missed it completely. I think that was the biggest shock. I don't think any of the guys knew anything about it until all of a sudden, right before playoffs, whenever that was, last year, 2 years ago, it came out. Such a shock.
Right.
Crazy.
Yeah.
But I'm glad they're staying, and their new stadium looks sweet.
I feel like we're getting like a bad rep now because of a couple of people on the show have said bad things about New England, and now they think that we all hate New England.
Mainly you, but then the one to say bad things about New England.
I mean, my time there wasn't great, but like I feel like I've never gone on and crushed the organization.
I think your hate for New England is worse than my hate for Tinnerholm. For sure.
Can't wait to get Anton on the show, man. All right, let's move on. All right, your best veteran teammate your rookie year. Is it Taylor Twellman, Shaw Reed Joseph, Noonan, or Ralston, or anybody else that I forgot?
I'm going to have to choose other, and I'm going to insert Matt Reese.
Ooh, I forgot Matty Reese. He is a good one.
Matt Reese was right next to me in the locker room for all 4 years. What a guy to sit next to. Oh, my goodness. The biggest character in any locker room. Was such a good guy. I mean, the whole locker room was filled with great veterans. All those guys you mentioned were awesome to be around day in and day out. But Matt kept it light, kept it fun. He was a good locker mate.
Yeah, no, I agree. He was with me as well when I went to New England. I think he was there with everybody in New England, so I don't know how many years he spent there. God bless him, but
UCLA guy.
Yeah, great guy.
Great guy.
Is he in Columbus now?
Columbus, yeah.
Yeah, he's in Columbus. That's right. So yeah, he's a good dude. I think we were lucky to have him as a teammate for as short of a time, I guess, as I had him. But he's a good dude.
Yeah. No, there were some. I mean, those are great veterans that you named, though. I mean, shoot, what a
that's
locker
crazy. And the
So
talent, not
talented.
just like the personalities, but the talent. You guys had.
I mean, Ralston.
you had Clint as
doing
well.
it. Yep, Clint.
You guys had some players on that team.
And
Who's the GM that got all these players? Like, was it Burns? He wasn't there.
Yeah, it
was
was.
he?
Yeah,
He was?
Mike.
Really? He was there that long?
He
Wasn't
took
Mike
over
Burns
the-
there like forever?
He took over the GM role, I think, soon after I got there. Maybe 2005. So I don't know if he was in charge of bringing all those guys in and before me or not. I think it was somebody else, but I could be mistaken.
But I also think that's like MLS 1.0, where it was a lot of good draft picks. That's what how you built a team. Now it's completely different. You can't just go through. It's hard to even get one good draft pick now because a lot of players go through the academies. There's homegrowns, all that kind of stuff. So
For sure.
little
That
bit
was back in the day when you had like 10 rookies every year.
Yeah.
You have one or two.
Right,
quick.
exactly.
Do you think Stevie Nickel threw a dart at like names and like whatever he landed on, he picked?
Well,
I don't know who did the scouting, but it's funny. we talk about Jeff and I have talked back about our Stevie Nickel days, and I mean, to think back of how we used to win games and how we used to approach things is, I mean, Stevie, for anybody that doesn't know him, is the ultimate players coach. We did no tactical work. I watched video once in 4 years, and that was literally, he put on one of our games. We watched like 30 minutes of it with no commentary, nothing from Stevie, and then he turned it off, and that was it. We did no scouting. We did no gym.
And crazy, man.
Isn't that pretty crazy though? How different the MLS is though from like 05, 06, 07. Like literally, you wouldn't do any video. I mean, even when I was in Portland in 2009, 10, like we never watched video. Now it's like such a big part of like after every game you're watching video and before.
For some teams, Sal. Yeah. For some teams, I've heard.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's for some teams. I agree. I mean, like maybe it's definitely changed. No doubt. For every team, it's changed.
It's definitely
to some degree.
changed because we don't watch video after games.
You don't?
That's not.
No.
Tata, we used to. I mean, the ones that we would play really bad, we would.
Coach to coach as well. I think it kind of changed.
Do you guys watch film in KC and Minnesota?
We used to watch a lot of film my first 5 years here. And then this year we've watched, definitely not as much. I think maybe it's because of just the season that we've had. He's tried to like change certain things and certain aspects and not give us too much information, but we haven't watched nearly as much video as we used to my first 5 years here. So yeah.
With Jesse, we would watch 3 videos a week, man. After
but with Stevie Nickel,
I like video.
Stevie Nickel didn't have time to set up video in between his 36 holes that he played of golf every day, and then the other 3 hours that he spent at the pub. So, I mean, Sal was having himself a good time as well. He was a dude that loved everybody, but he was also enjoying life. So, yeah, MLS 1.0, man.
The good times, the good days.
All right. Moving on to my final question, and this is from, I don't know if you've listened enough to our podcast, then you know that I have certain PIs around the league that kind of give us inside intel on players coming on the show. So this question goes all the way back to your Wake Forest days. And how many nights a week, on average, did Stephen Keel and James Riley make you go out to bars and when you really didn't want to?
In season once a week, out of season probably twice or 3 times a week.
I would love if you can elaborate as well. Give me like one good story if you can remember of these guys like taking you out and you really not wanting to.
I mean, there were so many nights. Holy smokes! I mean, we enjoyed ourselves in college for sure, and oh man, in the spring. These guys would get after it. I mean, day drinking was the way to do it back in college for us. We didn't go to bars really. It was all house parties at Wake. So we would sit in the backyard and play these games where you'd drink a beer and then we'd make it up where you had to throw your empty beer can off of an object and have it land in a different object and stuff. We'd literally sit there and listen to music and play these day drinking games, but I'd be cool drinking until like 6, 7 o'clock, and I'd be cool shutting it down. You know, fun has been had. But these guys,
it's bedtime, dude.
Mission's been accomplished, yeah. But these guys would always want to go out and continue it on. I remember going out one time, and I was like, oh, mess. I'm coming back to the house. I went back to the house, and we were living together, the 3 of us, and I went back to the house. And I'm getting ready for bed, and all of a sudden I hear these people trying to get in the house. And I'm like, what is going on? And I felt like it was these guys messing with me. And it wasn't. It was like, I still to this day don't know if these people were trying to come rob us or they thought we were hosting a party or what was going on. But I remember calling James and Steve up and being like, guys, you got to come back to the house, man. There's people trying to break in. I'm by myself here.
You didn't call the cops. You just called James.
Yeah, no. I couldn't tell if like I was too drunk to realize what was going on or, it was a little hazy.
Yeah, good times, man. College.
Yeah, college.
All right, well, those are all the quick hitters that I actually had. Does anybody else want to have a little quick hitter or no? Anybody had one on the side, or do we get into the main interview here?
Get into the main interview. I got a lot of questions, but they're not really quick hitters. But I don't want to take away from.
Start us up then. Start us up with one of the main questions that you got. I'm sure you have some from Wake, maybe.
I mean,
But
yeah. Well, that didn't see that one coming. Well, I was gonna say, so your rivalry with Orlando now being in Atlanta, is hilarious to me. And I had to point out when Joseph was laughing at that video that went kind of viral, Joseph laughing after Orlando couldn't beat you guys at home. I think it was the Open Cup semis, and I just remember laughing, and it kind of came all full circle because after we lost in the Open Cup final, I saw Spectre, who announced his retirement, and I saw him working for you guys now, and I'm thinking to myself, he literally couldn't beat you guys, and now he's on your team. Like, just I can't imagine going into that supposed rivalry just knowing that like you've got the upper hand mentally on these guys. Is that somewhat accurate or?
100%. I mean, it's crazy to think in this day and age in MLS that we've been playing these guys for 3 years now, and we've yet to lose to them, home or away. A team that we play at least twice a year. In the first 2 years, maybe three. I think we played them 3 times each year. So, obviously it gets manufactured that it's a rivalry year one. Right. But because the fans get into it and our front office has poked a little fun with billboards and social media and stuff, I think it does amp up the games a little bit. But the fact that they can't beat us, we've talked about it in the locker room. It's funny. I mean, we take a picture in their locker room now every time we go there and play.
yeah,
I saw that picture.
I've noticed that you could put like a timeline from every game, and Darlington always has a shoe, like he's acting like he's calling someone or something.
I could be incorrect, but I don't even think that we've tied down in Orlando.
In Orlando, I think you guys have won it. We've won, but on the road, at home, didn't you guys tie the first year 4-4?
We've tied twice here at home. We tied 3-3 one time, and we tied 1-1, where we were actually fortunate to tie in like the 91st minute. But yeah, down there in Orlando, I think we're wins only.
Yeah, I saw Spectre. I'm just like, nah. He's like, screw this. I'm gonna go join the winners. I don't know. I kind of chuckled to myself.
I don't know if he's taken as much heat as Justin has. Justin's taken some heat.
Oh God, I forgot.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, Justin was in Orlando for what, 2 months?
Yeah, basically.
Something like that.
I
Orlando really bit the bullet there, huh? Holy Lord! They took him for like over $1 million TAM GAM and then gave him back basically. Unbelievable. Actually, hey, I was gonna get into the main interview, but I do have one more question that I forgot. I saw here. I didn't scroll down enough on my phone. One really good question, but you have to promise you're gonna answer it unbiasedly.
All right.
You were Rookie of the Year. Did you ever win Defender of the Year?
Once.
Perfect. Because I want to ask you, who is Defender of the Year this year? Ike Opara, Miles Robinson, or our good friend Anton Tinnerholm?
If it's gonna be Maxime Chanot is gonna be above Tinnerholm, just so even though
Maxime Chanot can't even pull on Tinnerholm's jockstrap.
Oh my God! I'm not saying that Tinnerholm doesn't deserve, but like if anyone's come off of NYC, it's gonna be Chanot.
It's not going to be Chanot. I put Tinnerholm in there kind of as a joke. We know it's not going to be Tinnerholm. I don't think, but he's a great player. But go ahead. Let Parky answer the question.
Agreed. It's not going to be Tinnerholm. Although I do have respect for the guy because I think he is a good player. But we've got some guys in our locker room that aren't fans of him as well. So
yeah, see, it's not just me.
It's funny. I was talking to my wife just the other day about this, honestly, and she asked me who's going to be Defender of the Year, and I said, well, I think it's between Ike and Miles. That was my opinion, and obviously, I see Miles on a daily basis, and teams in the West, honestly, I don't watch them play much. No offense, guys.
Oh no, you wouldn't want to watch. You wouldn't want to watch the Premier League if you're in the Championship. I agree.
Let's say, don't worry, the West is better anyway. So, anyways, go on. You guys' playoffs were set like 6 months ago.
Anywho, I think that Miles Robinson is the best one-on-one defender I've ever played with in my entire career, and I think that he's had an absolutely tremendous season, and I hope he wins Defender of the Year. Sorry, Ike, but you can't deny the defensive record of Minnesota's turnaround this year, and coupled with Kansas City's demise this year. I mean, it points strongly to a one Ike.
The Ikena of the North over there.
So you think that plays? Yeah, I agree.
I
mean,
mean,
I think
it
it's
has
going
to
be
play a role.
There are other things that I could base this whole argument off of for myself and for Miles. So like, I don't ever look at it in that regards, like Kansas City, Minnesota. Fun fact: I actually voted for Miles. I'm not that guy that like votes for like people who aren't competitors, because I think it's I mean, it's not
like
what voting's supposed to be.
You're always honest, like when you put Mike Grella 15 times for the All-Star.
Because he deserved it.
He deserved it. Yeah.
Yeah, he honestly deserved it. So,
that reminds me. Did you see Cristiano Ronaldo's top 3 for Ballon d'Or?
I just saw Virgil's, but what was his like?
He didn't put Messi or Virgil.
Of
He
course,
didn't put either of them.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't understand. Like, so if I'm not choosing myself, I'm choosing who I think deserves to win, and I think if it wasn't me, it should be Miles. But you've got some guys that will put like whatever, Benny Feilhaber for center back. It's like, okay, like this is ridiculous.
Wait a second.
No, don't say anything. Don't say a word. No,
I think that I honestly think Ike will win it. Not. I'm not saying that you don't deserve it, because absolutely you do. I'm a huge fan, Ike, and I think you're a baller. But I also think that age will help Ike as well. Him having done it over the course of many years, absolutely. And I think that Miles might get docked a little bit for playing next to a very good center back and having a very good goalie behind him. Which
and the champions of like 10 competitions this year.
That should play in his favor, because I mean, we honestly would not win those trophies if probably I was playing and he wasn't.
Parky,
isn't it pretty crazy though? Come on.
Isn't it pretty crazy though? Like to see. So I was with Miles obviously last year, and we would talk amongst ourselves in the locker room like, gosh, man, this guy, he's gonna be good. Like if he was on any other team, like he would be really good, because like Tata liked him, but didn't like. He obviously wanted guys that can play with their feet like a lot. Like that was his main attribute, I would say. So it was just a matter of time, I think, and I think he's been the biggest beneficiary to having the new coach come in and just play him right away. He's basically been like what he's always been to us, though. You know what I mean? He's just really just gotten an opportunity to play, so it's good for him.
I don't think we didn't know if he could do it consistently game in and game out over the course of a year, and I think that he's gotten a lot better on the ball as well. Yeah. He's not just a guy that can, pass it to the outside back. He's really improving in that aspect. I think he's going to be the future of the national team.
Yeah. Nice. All right, let's get into a question. I actually talked to you about this like through text a little bit in the beginning of the year when you guys were struggling. And I was asking you like what the biggest difference was, like why you guys, struggling. There's obviously the new coach. You guys lost one of your top probably 2 players. With Miguel, and then you guys got Pitti. That didn't work that well in the beginning of the year, and I think he's been playing better, but I don't think anybody would say that he's had the same kind of season that Miguel was having the last few years. So you guys have won 2 tournaments, right? 2 championships already this year. So you clearly turned things around. You're going to finish probably in 2nd or 3rd, I think, in the East. So one, what was like the big thing that made it a slow start for you guys? And then secondly, how or what exactly do you feel like was the biggest thing that made you guys kind of, become yourselves again or improve or get back to winning ways?
Yeah, I think it was a combination of things in the beginning of the season. I think that it's difficult having the short off season and coming straight in and playing CCL. As you guys know and have dealt with it before, it's a challenge.
The worst.
Yeah, it's tough, man. And we went down to Costa Rica to play an inferior team, and we got our butts kicked in the first game. And so we as a team don't handle adversity very well. It's known. I mean, we don't come back from deficits very often in games, and it's a problem of ours. And similarly, we don't deal with losses very well. And, we came back from that game and we took care of things at home. But that immediately put a little bit of stress into the team and a little bit of doubt of, coming off of Tata and winning games and winning championships. And now, oh my goodness, we lose our first game to this team down in Costa Rica with Frank. And then guys start to doubt the tactics and the formation and where guys are playing. And Frank's still trying to figure all this out. We had one of the worst preseasons I've been a part of in a while. We went to California and it rained for like 2 weeks straight. And it doesn't even rain in California ever. So the games were terrible. We were probably not as prepared as we needed to be for CCL. And then you start the league and you're balancing, like, do you rest guys? Don't you? You want to start the league off well. We don't rest guys and we still lose to DC in the first game. And then we have to go to Monterrey right after that, midweek, and play against one of the best teams in North America. We lose that game again, and things just start to spiral. Yep. Guys lose confidence. They don't buy in now to what Frank is saying. And, we're at a period where, you're right, we're missing Miggy big time. Pitti is not the exact same player, and it's unfair to think that he could be or should be, because Miggy's a totally different type of player. So that combination of things was just really difficult for us to get out of. Yeah. I think eventually Frank went to the 3-5-2. We got back to, playing in that formation, putting Gressel out wide, putting guys in their natural spots. We played a little bit riskier, and then we even have been lately. If you've seen any of our games, we're playing a lot of man v man all over the field.
I watched the game against Portland. I watched that game, and I thought you guys were the better team. But that's not the greatest way to play against Portland either, because Portland's a team that likes to go on the counter with space, and you guys were winning, but still kind of giving them some space. But yeah, you guys got players that are good on one-on-one situations, so I thought you got away with some of those things, but it was a wide open game.
It is, and it's crazy. That's the way we've been playing lately, and a lot of it has to do with Miles being able to literally stand on the halfway line one-on-one with a striker, and we're like, all right, we're good back there. Yeah, we're good back there. Like, we can handle it. So it gives us the freedom to press on and put teams under a little bit of pressure, and that's worked for us, and it's got the confidence back, and we had some good performances there in the middle of the season.
Nice. Yeah, you guys, I think in the East, man, it's wide open. I feel like any team can make a little bit of a run, and obviously you guys have the pedigree and you guys have the players. So if you guys get on that little bit of a run, it wouldn't surprise me, you in MLS Cup Finals again.
Well, Joseph has to find a new right leg or left leg or whatever it is.
Is he going to be all right, dude?
Honestly, shockingly, he is. Yeah. When I rewatched the video, I thought, oh my God, there goes his knee.
Yeah.
It just looked bad, but somehow he's already out running.
He's crazy though.
If he is.
He had a broken forearm, I think, last year and just played through it.
I'll be surprised if he doesn't play this weekend, but maybe they'll wait since we're already qualified, maybe they'll wait the extra 2 weeks and give him time.
Exactly. All right, let's move on. Let's go. I was going to ask you about when you actually came from Columbus to Atlanta. And I know you're a big family guy, because I am as well. And I've heard things from, we have the same agent as well. So I've heard little stories and stuff like that. So I'm curious to know that it obviously worked out great, because you went to Atlanta, a great organization. You've won championships. You're going to retire there. But did you want to leave Columbus? Did you want to stay there? What was like the thought process during that offseason for you?
Yeah, that was a tough time. I had expected that I would retire a crew player. I wanted to do that. I wanted to just play out the rest of my career there. We loved living there. Coming back from Europe, it was the first place we settled down, where we owned a home. The kids grew up there and were in school and stuff. So, I loved playing for Greg. Tactically, that's such a good coach. Learned a ton from him. So I enjoyed it. But things went downhill. After MLS Cup, we had contract talks, and they did not go anywhere near the way I thought they would. and that really hurt Greg and I's relationship in year 3 because he was coach and GM, so it was tough to separate the two things. So our relationship went south a little bit, and then the season obviously didn't go well. We didn't make the playoffs, and throughout that time I was a little bit in the dark. He didn't really talk to me that much, and I thought, man, this might not go well. And at the end of the season, he basically said, we'll keep you, but we'll keep you at this number. And I said, that's not going to happen. If you want me to stay here, it's not going to happen like that. And he was like, it's basically take it or leave it. And I said, okay, let's find a club for me to go to.
Were you going to be a free agent at the end of that year, or
what year was that?
Owned you?
No.
What year was that?
I was going to be. That was 2000. That was in between 15 and
17. Right? Oh, was it
17? Yeah, you're right.
16,
17.
Yeah.
Because I came here at the beginning of 17.
Yeah.
So you would not have been a free agent.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
The old 32-year-old not free agent.
Well, hey, you haven't played 8 years in the league. Is that what it was?
Exactly. The 7 years.
You spent one too many years in Northland.
Exactly. Yep.
Oh man.
But yeah, I mean, obviously it worked out well for me coming down here, and it was a blessing. But yeah, I was not happy about it, and didn't expect it.
Oh yeah, that's the things that we fight for. I think as players as well. Those kind of situations that can. I mean, it's so fickle with how you can be playing so well. You go to MLS Cup the year before, and then 1 year, and something doesn't work out as well as you'd like, and all of a sudden your options are they're so limited. I mean, you got lucky, I'd say, like you said.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's a lot of people in your situation that could have gotten really unlucky with that. And it's good for people to know kind of the things that can go on in this league. I feel like, the little tidbits that, players don't have certain rights and that you can get stuck at one place without, really having a viable path anywhere else.
For sure. I mean, and even though our relationship went south, from what I know, Greg made it easy to trade me to Atlanta. It's not like he put a price tag, which he could have. Even though I was out of contract, I'm still basically a Columbus Crew player, right. With the rules. So he could have made it very difficult, but he didn't. So for that, I'm thankful, and I'm glad it worked out.
Yeah. Guys, what do you guys got? I got a couple more here, but
I was going to say,
jump in.
I know you're going into retirement, and obviously, but had Greg sent you to, say, you fill in the blank club, you would have retired on the spot. Which club would that have been?
that's a plead the fifth.
It is. I'd like to see.
If I answer this right now, you got one less plead the fifth. Right?
Yeah, that's definitely a plead the fifth.
Okay, how about this? What team do you hate playing on the road?
Those are two different questions for me.
Yeah.
They are.
You want me to answer the second one?
Sure.
Saving the first one for later? Because I'll answer.
No, I won't. Well, we'll see how this goes. We'll see how the plead the fifth segment goes.
Playing on the road. I'll say Vancouver.
Really?
I mean, that's a trick for you guys too.
It's a huge trek. It's turf. It's Canada.
Does Atlanta play on turf? I wasn't sure. Is it turf over there?
It's the good turf.
It is the good. I will give. If I'm the one saying it's the good turf, then it has to be because I hate turf more than anyone. There's something weird about that turf. It somehow stays wet or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I dislike turf as well, like every other professional soccer player. But honestly, we talk about it. The trade-off between not having to play in the heat and humidity down here and getting to play indoors but having to be turf is a trade-off I would take every day.
Every day.
Because when we go down to Orlando and play down there, it is miserable.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy there.
Is when you walk out the tunnel, coming out for pregame, you're all amped, and then that wave hits you. You're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
That field in Orlando is so nice as well. I think it's the best actual field in the league. But you're right.
Very nice.
It's anything but cold. If it's not cold, it's awful.
Houston as well. I'd say Houston is top 3 in toughest places, worst places to go.
And I feel like every game there, you have a 50% chance of a rain delay or lightning delay.
And a 50% chance of a stroke as well.
I remember we played there with New England back in the day. Stu Holden actually was playing in this reserve game the next day, and we had a guy on our team pass out in like the 30th minute in the reserve game.
Normal.
Like 10 a.m. game the next day.
To be fair, reserve games in old MLS, the guy probably went out the night before.
Likely.
Yeah.
Do we know who it was that passed out?
I can't remember who.
It was for New England, a player for New England?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Poor kid.
So Parky, when you retire, where's going to be home? Where are you going to settle down?
Most likely we'll go back to Columbus.
Okay. Bro, this hasn't been thought out yet by you and your family? It's like a month away, bro.
He's just going to wake up and be like, what am I supposed to do today?
Yeah. No, for sure we're not moving anywhere until the end of the school year. So we've got time. Okay. We don't want to take the kids out of the school mid-season.
How old are your kids now?
They're 8 and 9, so 3rd and 4th grade.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, so most likely Columbus, but it's not 100%.
And what are your plans? Like, are you going to just retire and do nothing for the rest of your life? What is your wife do? Is she going to have a job?
MLS for 10 years.
It was kind of being sarcastic. So what are you going to do is my question.
Well, first my wife will start her career. She hasn't started yet, and she's got her doctorate of PT, so she's going to do her thing. Nice. And I'm going to sit on the sideline a little bit and be at the stay-at-home dad while the kids are at school all day. Really work on my golf game a little bit.
That was smart, though. You waited till the kids got a little bit older before you retired.
Had to hang on as long as possible.
Yeah, Sal retired too early. Now he has to take care of a bunch of crying girls.
Man, it's perfect age. 4, 2.5, and 1. Perfect.
He has 0 time for golf, and he has a real estate license. So it's not going well.
Seriously, he's got to record this in the garage. Look at him back there.
You know how hot it is in Vegas? It doesn't even matter that it's close to wintertime. It's still hot.
It's getting nice. It's nice.
Crack
like
the garage door, Sal.
The AC is opening up the side door in the garage.
But I do want to stay involved in the game somehow, but I don't want to do it in a full-time basis. I want to be there with the kids on the weekends to watch their games. My son plays soccer, baseball. My daughter plays lacrosse right now and tennis. I love nothing more than going to their games, sitting there, and watching them play.
Nice.
And so that takes me out of professional, even academy, full-time right now. But I would love to do something part-time with Atlanta, Columbus, something academy, I don't know, where either like in a mentor role or help out young defenders on the team, either on the field or off the field, a video, or I don't know. I see so many kids now. We sign these homegrown kids and they're just lost. Yeah. They're either not ready physically, they're not ready mentally, both. I mean, these kids need help, on and off the field. So if that could be something I could do as well. But stay in the game somehow so that when the kids are older, if I want to get back into it at a higher level, then I still am involved, attached somehow.
Nice. And you want to do that with Atlanta, you said? Or does it matter?
Atlanta, Columbus, wherever we are.
New England?
He's from Providence. So.
That's right. I am a New England-born boy.
So
right.
It's not terrible. Hey, when you start that up, being a defender myself, I'll come work for you. We'll get the whole thing. We'll monopolize the market. No problem.
Put together a defender academy here.
Why not? Actually, Columbus, though, I don't know if I can live in Columbus, but I've never spent too much time there, so I can't speak on it.
Hey, quick question, guys, since we have 2 Wake Forest guys. What's a demon deacon?
So it's funny you say that because it's an oxymoron, and I heard it once, and I remember hearing it and being like, that was stupid. Do you remember the story? Like, I literally heard it. It's like, it's a terrible story, in my opinion.
Okay.
So let's hear it.
Don't know.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Is a deacon? What is a deacon, like an angel or something?
No,
Deacon,
it was something.
like
It was something like
a minister, right, or something.
Yeah, but I don't want to butcher the story, so I'll just like I'll have it ready for the next one.
Okay.
But I was going to bring up the time at Wake Forest. You made my life hell at Wake Forest, Parky, just so we're clear. Being a defender, Coach Jay Vidovich kept you at the standard that was untouchable. And every bad pass, everything that went wrong, it was like, Parky could do it. Parky could do that. Parky could do this. And I was like, I haven't met the guy yet, but I swear if I ever do.
It'll be on a podcast.
Well, I obviously met him plenty of times before,
Yeah,
but yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that, Ike. I mean, that's like one of those things where, you know, the coach remembers the player much better than he actually was when he was there, and, you know, the legend grows year after year.
There, were you volleying balls, diagonal balls out of like mud puddle soaked fields? I literally heard the most ridiculous stories.
Only with my left foot.
Oh.
Sorry about that, Ike. Yeah.
Ike, I think you did all right, bro.
Yeah.
You came out clean the other side.
Yeah, we'll have a plead the fifth question or an interrogation section with about that, so I won't get too detailed. But yeah, no, it was actually cool because I had you built up, you know, to this unbelievable defender, and I hadn't really seen because I didn't watch too much MLS aside from like DC United growing up because they were my team, blah blah blah. And so I had you built up to this crazy pedestal. And so I finally like saw you play and I watched you play. And it was like,
what the hell is Jay talking about?
It was like in the sense of now I'm like, I don't even know how to explain it, but now I look at your career and I'm like, this guy was severely underrated, in my opinion. Like,
well, yeah, like, I'll tell you what, playing with him for 1 year gives you a newfound respect for him. And I guarantee you every guy on the team would say the same. Like, what a player. Everyone he's played with has probably said how good of a player he is. You know what I'm saying?
And I wish I could. Yeah, no. And I would love to have played with you. So, you know, if you want to hang around another year.
Hey, it's nice up in Minnesota.
Parky, I played with you. I honestly don't even know exactly when, but we've played together in the national team. I don't know if it was like Olympic January camps or Gold Cups, Olympics. That's right. You played the Olympics with me. Well, I didn't really play much. So I watched you play.
Novak loved you, though.
Novak
loved
let
you.
me play. I was one of like 5 guys that had some games on the full team, but I couldn't get a game in the under 23. So, but
I still remember a specific play in the Holland game. It's so funny that you just mentioned that because to this day, by the way, that Holland game is the most crushing game I've ever played in.
That was brutal. The one under the wall? Is that
under the wall?
Talk about?
End of the game, we tie the game 2-2. We should have won 2-1. They hit a free kick under the wall, and we would have qualified for the next round, 6 points, but we didn't. We ended up losing the last game we're out. But anyways, I remember we're winning 2-1, and I think Benny had come on, and maybe you were playing right mid. Because I just remember yelling at you like, yeah, you got to try and block crosses over there because Babel's like just whipping in crosses. And you yell over to me like, I can't get close to him. He's going to run right by me.
I said this? Dude, no, this was not me.
That's you, bro.
I would not have said, even if it were true, I wouldn't have said that. I said that.
I remember thinking, valid point, because I'd be doing the same thing.
Wasn't Marvell over there helping me out or something?
He should have been, yeah.
That makes sense, though. Me coming in at right mid on that team, and I think that probably makes sense. I'll say that probably was. I thought you were going to actually say the play that you remembered was this one against Nigeria. We played Nigeria in the third game.
Yeah.
And I came in. We were losing 2-0, I think. I think it was 2-0. And we needed to tie. And I think Charlie got a goal, right? Was it Charlie that scored one?
Can't remember.
I think somebody scored.
Yeah.
By the way, crime that Charlie wasn't starting on that team as well. But by the way, or moving on, we had a play where we had a throw in close to our corner flag, like offensive. And I grabbed the ball and I threw it off the back of the defender. And it bounced down and I took it and I started running down the end line. Like the defender turned around, like didn't know what the hell had happened. And I was dribbling down the end line towards the goal. It would have been a good chance. The referee blew it and said it was a foul throw. Said I wasn't allowed to do that. Not like nothing that I did with my arms whatever. I don't know, like what he thought. Like I took an unfair advantage by throwing it off the defender's back. And he stopped the play. Dude, it was like
I don't remember this play.
That's what you
were. I was too exhausted in the back to actually figure out what was going on.
you guys played down a man the entire game because
A 3rd-minute red card.
Yeah, to Orozco.
Orozco, yeah.
Right, dude. Played a whole game down a man. That team was nice, dude. That team was good.
So yeah, that was a fun experience.
Although I think bringing McBride was probably not the best decision in terms of overage players. We could have brought somebody that fit that team a little better, but we were a good pick, and Gazam was the other one, right?
Yeah, Brad.
That was nice, dude. It was a really good team. But yeah.
Right.
Anyways, what I was gonna say though, we played together a few times in the national team, and everybody, these guys actually reminded me because I didn't even know you were at the 2014 camp with Jurgen right before the World Cup. And
Yes.
you got you didn't make the team, but it got completely overshadowed by the fact that Landon Donovan, some guy, didn't make the team as well. So we want to know, tell us how that camp went. Obviously it's a frustrating time. I was lucky enough to go to a World Cup in 2010, but I'm really good friends with Sasha, and he missed it in that camp. He was at the camp with me, and it's extremely difficult because I play the same position as him, yet we're really good friends. And so I kind of have seen it. I haven't felt it, but talk about it a little bit, or what you remember, or what you want to share with us, and what happened in that camp.
Yeah, that was difficult for sure. I mean, to be that close and not get there, it's tough. I remember not having, to be honest, a great camp, for whatever reason, and I don't want to make excuses, but part of it, I think, was that I was playing center back in Columbus, not outside back, and the thought coming back to MLS was that I would play outside back until the World Cup, at least to give myself a better chance to make the World Cup team. And then Greg was on board with that. And then in the preseason, it didn't work out that way, and I was playing center back for Columbus. And I had played some good games for the national team leading up to the camp, so I felt like I was in a pretty good spot. And I honestly thought it was between myself and Brad Evans who would make the team. Or maybe even, what's his name? The guy from Germany that denied 18 call-ups and then
Fabian Johnson?
No.
Oh no.
Chandler?
Timothy Chandler.
Oh, Timothy Chandler. Okay.
So he was a surprise inclusion. But to be fair, he had a good camp. And then I thought, okay, it's between myself and Brad, and then Yedlin makes it instead. But yeah, honestly, I didn't have a great camp. So I've got nobody to blame but myself. But I think that the way that it all went down was a little frustrating as well, because nobody knew cuts were happening. It was in between a 2-session day. It was just all of a sudden he started calling guys over, and you're kind of looking over like, what's this conversation going on right now?
Is this on the field?
It was like right outside the locker room. We had to walk from the Stanford field to the locker room, and it was like right outside the locker room. But like half of the team is going over to the gym for a gym workout, and half the team is staying. We were in different, coming off the field, we were in different groups, I guess. And I remember thinking, oh my God, is he cutting guys right now? Should I stay to wait and see if I'm going to get cut? I'd rather just know.
Yeah.
Or do I go to the gym and then come back? So I went to the gym, came back, and he pulled Brad Evans over. And I was like, oh my God, I think I made it. And so he talks to Brad, and then I'm like, let me make sure he sees me because I just want to know. And then he called me over, and told me that, you get cut. And it was just weird because he said that, and it was like, all right,
A blur
take a
after
shower. Like, how am I getting back to the hotel? Like, none of the other coaches came over to say anything. I ended up getting in a van with Landon, just the two of us, to drive back to the hotel. So that was weird. Here I was, like, feeling bad for myself, and then I'm like, oh my God, the best player in U.S. soccer history didn't make the team either. So yeah, it was a strange time for sure.
Yeah. I don't know if Jurgen's forte was cutting players, because in January 2014, January camp, holy Lord. Wait, were you there too?
I don't know. Oh,
were you there in Brazil?
Is this Brazil?
Yeah. So you were there for that. So during lunch, we
I'm
start.
shaking my head because I heard your story on another podcast.
Oh, okay. So you
whenever
weren't
talked
there.
about it. I was finalizing my buyout of Augsburg, and I'm trying to get it done. I'm on the phone with Jurgen, like, hey, this is going to happen. He's like, as soon as it happens, you fly straight to Brazil, meet us there, no problem. I'm like, all right, great. Like, I want to get to this January camp. You know, we got the World Cup coming up.
Yeah, right.
So I'm like pushing the Augsburg transfer through, like, come on, let's get this done, let's get it done. We get it done. I'm like, Jurgen, great, done. You guys haven't left for Brazil yet. I'm like, I'll meet you in Brazil. I'm ready to go. We already told everyone who's going to Brazil. Why don't you just meet us back in California?
It was Benny. Benny was the player
honestly-
that was supposed to be cut so you could go.
I was
Dude, the funny thing-
so mad.
I feel like I'm putting puzzle pieces together here because I don't know how much is BS, like that coaches say stuff and whatever, but during that first week in California, we did a bunch of fitness tests. And he said before the fitness test, we're going to see who's fit. Essentially, if you don't come in fit, you're going to be screwed. We're going to see that you're not fit. And whoever's not fit isn't going to Brazil. He said he was going to make the cuts before we went to Brazil. So I'm wondering now if that was BS or not, because maybe it seemed like BS at the time. Like, oh yeah, we're gonna see and there was a couple guys that weren't fit. I don't want to throw names around because I can't remember who was actually there, but I do remember there's like 2 guys that didn't pass the test, the fitness test. And so instead of training with us during that week, they were actually doing extra running. But they like caught up throughout the week with the extra fitness and then actually passed the test towards the end of the week. And so he came up to us, all of us, and said, look, everybody did really good, in his awesome Jurgen voice. Guys, it was a great camp. You guys did fantastic. And we're going to bring you all to Brazil. And so we brought 30 guys to Brazil. I don't know if it was pre-planned or not, but maybe we all screwed you from being too fit. I don't know. But yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I did meet you guys in California, and I started that game, so I felt bad that you guys had worked for.
Oh, you did meet us? So you were there for the infamous me and Kyle Beckerman?
I don't remember it, but yeah, I met you guys, and I played in the game.
If you don't remember, then you weren't there. Oh, man. I got to let somebody else tell that story. I can't tell it on our own podcast, or else it sounds biased, but one day we'll have somebody that can remember.
I've only ever heard it from you, so I can't really tell it either.
Well, we got to let somebody else tell that story. Maybe we'll have Kyle on the show.
Yeah, good one.
You don't think he'd come on?
He'll tell it the exact same way.
I will pay him to come on, and it's going to be the biggest verbal altercation I've ever seen.
I think you'd have to pay him to come on.
Yeah.
I think he'd have to. What was that, Benny? He'd have to give a heartfelt apology.
10 years, bro. Yeah. Did you see how hard he hit you in the playoff or the regular season game last year? And he stood over you, and you looked at him like, really?
In the playoff game?
No, the regular season game at home at LAFC. He literally truck sticks you at the top of the box. I've never, and you looked at him, and he's standing over the top of you, and you're like, really?
I actually don't remember this for some reason.
Oh, I remember
the game that we won 2-0.
Yeah, and you looked at him, and you were just like, you won't let this go, huh? Like he.
I don't know what he doesn't have to let go. I mean, but anyways, we'll leave that for another podcast. But yeah, good times. All right, well, I'm done with all my questions for Parky. Do we have any other ones, or should we get to the intense things that are coming up out of Wake Forest Demon Deacon?
They're not that intense.
Demon Deacons duke it out.
They're not that intense.
All right, Parky, you are officially on the hot seat. Enjoy your time with Mr. Ara. He's all yours, Ike.
All right, Parky, since you've listened to some podcasts in the past, you know how this kind of works. I'm going to ask you 5 questions. You complete the 5th one, and if you answer all 5, you can ask a question to any of us of any sorts that we must answer.
All right, sounds good.
All right. Question number 1. Best tactician. Frank de Boer, and rank these from first to worst. Frank de Boer, Greg Berhalter, Tata, and I'm going to throw in Jurgen just because.
You should have thrown Bob in there too.
No, we've had enough Bob and even Jurgen, but Jurgen's we're just talking about Jurgen.
Bro, if it's I'm not even going to say anything.
Tactician.
1 to 4. All right, let's go.
All right, it's Greg, Tata, Frank, Jurgen.
Yeah. I don't even know some of those guys, and I would just say that's probably. I don't know many people that would disagree, but good answer.
And I won't ask why on this one. I'm trying to keep you to have a job for one more month. I've actually got a couple fan questions. Some of these are really good. First fan question. Whose idea was it to go to Magic City after the MLS Cup?
Wait, what's Magic City?
Just maybe
strip club in Atlanta.
Strip club with some pictures of the title trophy.
It's funny because we went out the night after MLS, the night of MLS Cup. We went out, and it was real anticlimactic. We were in different places.
Two different groups went in two different places.
Yeah, it was. We didn't. I was afraid to set anything up. I was afraid to even talk about it. Like, I don't want to do that. Because we had done a little bit of that in Columbus, like worrying so much about like what's going to happen after the game if we win, and so this time I was like, you know what, I don't care, we'll figure it out after. But anyway, so after the game was just, we ended up at like this Spanish club, and it was packed. You couldn't move. It just wasn't a great time. So a couple nights later, we actually get the cup, and we're able to go out, and it's not the whole group, but it's a good group of guys. And we had a great night. And I ended up taking a picture with a bunch of the guys in the cup and was kind of goofing around saying, like, where should we go next? And like a couple hours later, the group splits up. I go home, a couple other guys go home, and then a few group of the guys bring the cup. And I'm supposed to be in charge of the cup at this point. So I'm like, guys, are you sure you want this? Because now you're in charge. Like, I'm passing the baton here. It's on you. And they're like, yeah. We're bringing it with us. We'll take care of it. We got it. I'm like, all right, take it. So they take it to Magic City. I want to say probably the ringleader was Chris McCann.
Who's no longer with the team, so it's okay to say.
Speculating Chris McCann.
Not there. Even though it was widely assumed because I sent that picture out. Got
it. Oh, I love it. Who would you get? This isn't part of the question. Who would you get? Who would say had the best time there? Please tell me it was a backup goalie. One of my personal friends. I don't even know if he was there or not. Actually, I do know if he was there.
I think he was because I saw his picture.
Yeah.
He was one of the profiles you could see that was definitely there.
Did he still have his mustache?
I was going to say a mustache that's proclaimed, so.
Kyle, I know you're talking Kyle Rainish.
No, he's talking about Alec.
Oh, you're talking about Alec. I don't know if he was there. I don't want to say who was and who wasn't. I'm not 100% sure who was.
All good. Hopefully he's not in a relationship. All right, question 3. Would you like a harder one or a toned down one?
Wherever you want to take.
What are we asking the guests?
No. Just kidding. Which player is the biggest disaster on Atlanta United? This was actually a question from another player in MLS.
Really? The biggest disaster?
In what sense?
You take it however you like.
Okay.
But more so, let's go with non-soccer. Non-soccer related.
Yeah, I think most people already have their ideas.
I actually have no idea.
I know my guess.
The biggest is
Sal can fact check you.
I feel like I want to plead the fifth, and I don't even
honestly. I'm debating it because I've got one guy that I can talk about because
they're good guys, so you don't want to
give him a hard time about what he does in his personal time and how often he goes out and enjoys himself, and he's actually turning the corner now and becoming more professional. And he's a little younger, so I don't want to stick him under the bus. So I'm going to plead the fifth here on that one.
We got him, boys.
All right, no questions for us. Wow, I love it.
Thank God. All right, question 4. This is a fan question. Who would you pick to replace you as captain, aside from Guzan? Can't choose him. Who would you pick to replace you as captain and why? And who would you not pick to replace you and why?
Good question.
Your Atlanta United fans coming in hot at you. They're mad you're retiring or something.
I guess so. Well, as far as I know, Jeff Lorenos will be back next year, and he is vice captain, so he will be the captain next year if he's still there. I don't know what his exact plans are, but he will definitely be the captain if he's there. And like you said, I think Brad is next on the list. So those two are definites. From there, I think you'd have to look at Leandro, Julian Gressel.
Darlington's a big vocal guy in the locker room.
He
would love
honestly,
to be captain.
He was going to be the guy that I was going to say probably not Darlington.
Yeah.
Because you expect, and I love Darlington. He's my guy, but he's quiet and he stays to himself a little bit, and everybody loves Darlington, but just because you're the best player on the team doesn't mean that you should necessarily be the captain. I think that he probably fits in that boat.
Yeah, fair. And I agree with that. Just because you're the best does not mean you are captain material, even though Darlington could be, but he's Darlington. He's chill.
He is.
Good dude. All right, last question. Which one do I want to ask? We'll go off on a lighter one. How wild is it knowing that you guys have a higher level of expectation than the Atlanta Falcons? Seriously.
It's a hotter ticket in town, I'm telling you.
We talk about it a little bit. Atlanta's a tough sports town. The fans can turn pretty quickly, and there's so many people here that aren't born here. So when you go to a Falcons game, there are so many fans from the other team in the building. I mean, I was there week 1. They played Philly, and there must have been 15,000, 20,000 Philly fans in that stadium. It's and the Falcons fans, to be fair, are louder than our fans when they get loud. It's just that obviously we are continuous and do it nonstop versus them doing it for short bursts. But yeah, because they've struggled, I mean, the onus is on us to be successful. I even saw a couple things yesterday, like they had a terrible game, got blown out at home, and they're like, man, Atlanta United better win since these guys can't. So thankfully Arthur's got us in the building as well, I guess.
Right.
Do you think Arthur knew when he bought an MLS team off his stepson's advice that it would turn into a worth $1 billion or whatever it's worth? I don't know what it's worth now, but it's definitely 5 or 6 times what he paid for it, I'd imagine.
Not as quickly as it has occurred, for sure.
Yeah,
definitely not. These guys are smart businessmen. Everybody knows MLS. If I could buy a franchise, I would right now as well. Yeah. It's only going one way, but the pace at which we got this franchise to where it is, and obviously they spent money and did it the right way, and success on the field and the environment that we have in home games. It's just a perfect culmination, and nobody could have foreseen this occurring this quickly in any franchise. And now we've got us, and now LA have done it, right after us. So it's just been really impressive.
Hey, since that last question was pretty much like a layup, I kind of have one. So you tell me if you want to answer this one, and all I want is a yes or no. You don't even have to give me a reason. Will Pity Martinez be on the team next season?
Yes.
You think? Yes. Okay. All right. So he's off the hot seat, boys?
Will Benny Feilhaber be on Sporting Kansas City next season?
Well, then we got to bring Peter in for that.
It might be difficult.
Hey, I think we could start going up to maybe front office staff, technical staff. Like Mike Petke might be a fun one.
I'm going to bow out of that one.
That would be he's probably not allowed to talk about anything soccer right now while this lawsuit's going on.
I could probably get Jesse. Should we get Jesse on here?
No chance you can get Jesse, bro.
Maybe.
I
Just
don't
call
wanna
his
get-
Austrian number. Maybe.
All right.
You guys could. I mean, checking in with former pros that are kind of big names, not just front office guys, might be a cool thing as well.
Well, we did Landon, so that was pretty
that's
cool.
true. Yeah, Legacy Landon. Yeah.
Well, we could get Boca maybe and ask him why his greasy hands were on the Open Cup before the final. Just because he's on U.S. Soccer, he's like coming out with the trophy, and I'm like, wait, did they already win the game? Like, I'm confused. Make sure you wipe down your fingerprints, Boca.
Conflict of interest there, huh?
Yeah.
It looked like it. Hey, little suspect. Put an asterisk by it. But you guys can have CCL. You guys can have CCL. It's all good. We'll take the cup.
All right, Parky. Awesome, dude. Thanks for coming on the show. It's awesome having you. We appreciate it. Good luck the rest of the season and with the rest of your career. That's not much left. And then good luck with your second career, whatever that is, and obviously with Daddy Daycare. That'll be fun for you. But your kids are old, so it's not really
older.
That.
Yeah. My wife did all the hard work, so.
It's a boy and a girl, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. Enjoy listening to you guys' show. You guys do a good job.
All right, man. We appreciate it. And, good luck the rest of the way and in playoffs, dude.
You too, guys. Well,
I'm not in playoffs. But
Nice seeing you again, bro.
Later, guys.
See ya.